Right, so let's see what my panel think of that. Joining me is Ali Miraj, Tessa Clark and also Dana Alexander. I'll start with you, Ali. Is she the best ever?
Well, I think certainly in the post-Victorian era she is, because Queen Victoria was the last monarch to really wield executive power, and the Queen is a constitutional monarch. So certainly in that era she is. If you look back further than that, Tom Holland, Dominic Sandbrook, both historians did a poll last year on this very question, and they found that actually King Athelstan, an Anglo-Saxon king who united Wessex and Mercia and pushed the Vikings out of Northumbria, actually topped the poll ahead of Elizabeth I, who clearly, obviously, repelled the Spanish Armada. So both of those were ranking ahead of Elizabeth II. But look, I'm a huge fan of the Queen. Absolutely faultless service for 7 decades. On her 14th Prime Minister, started with Churchill, ended up with Boris. I mean, God, heaven knows what she thinks of him. But anyway, the point is she is a utter professional and has conducted that with great aplomb.
Well, the other guy I've never heard of, she's great. And as for Boris, he doesn't even come into it. Dana, what do you think?
I would say, as far as British monarchs go, 100% you'd have to say that, especially when we talk about dismantling the colonies and everything else. But there was another poll when you were looking at monarchs across the world. She ranked third once again, the first being, was it Louis XIV?
Louis
and the second being Rama IX in Thailand. And I think he's probably the only other monarch I've ever seen that would be more beloved than the Queen internationally.
I've got that one. Yeah, what do you think then, Tessa?
Well, I'm a Republican, but, you know, you can't ignore the fact that 70 years of public service reigning is an amazing, great achievement. And her values of stoicism, of resilience, these fly in the face of our current woke culture. So to stand fast in the face of that is also a great achievement. Compared to, say, Queen Elizabeth I, I mean, you know, in a way, Queen Elizabeth I had more power to exercise and do good or bad. And actually, she stands on the shoulder of Queen Elizabeth I in a way, because she was a queen who decided to rule to end persecution of Protestants and Catholics and make herself, the monarch, something to adore and be divine. And although Queen Elizabeth II doesn't have quite the same powers, obviously, there's sort of sense that we should almost look up to the Queen as a sort of semi-divine figure. It's still there, I think, in our culture.
Well, also, I think the women do it better, frankly. I mean, looking at what we're saying. But, I mean, look, she took over at the tender age of just 25, you know, and she found that you know, King George VI died suddenly, and then she's there, suddenly she's the monarch. And it must be, for her, today must be an incredible day, because she must think and look back to that and think, crikey, if I'd known what I know now.
Yeah. Well, look, and you look back, her dad didn't want the job, but he stepped up because his brother abdicated. And the Queen herself was thrust into it. She lost her dad at a very tender age, and that must have obviously had a profound impact on her life. But as she said at that particular point, be her life long or short, it will be devoted in the service of her people. And she has absolutely stayed true to that the whole way through. I mean, barely put a foot wrong. I mean, the only time I think she slightly misjudged the mood for about 2 days was when Diana died. But then she has also always had the ability to change tack where necessary and recognise the bigger picture, not only for what's right for the country, but also the longevity of the monarchy. So she's also very pragmatic.